Hi everybody and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist and internationally published author, helping take your life, business, body, health, wellness from where you are right now to being unstoppable. And today's topic is about when it doesn't work out, what do you do? So as promised yesterday, I said that I would bring you an update as to what's going on with COVID in my state here of Melbourne, Victoria. And it's a perfect topic because things didn't work out the way that I was expecting today. So we have just a quick recap if this is the first time you're listening to this. So in Melbourne, Victoria, we are living under the tightest restrictions of anywhere in the world and have been for 7 months. The rest of the country is pretty much open, but we are very much closed. So my studio has been closed for 7 months. It hasn't been able to be open to the public. So I've innovated with my business and I'm Zoom calling and I'm doing my sessions out in parks and that kind of stuff, the physical training, and the rest of it is via Zoom. And so what we were expecting today was to at least be allowed to train more people out in the park. So I'm allowed to train 2 people only at a time, and I was hoping that it would go up to 10 today. But that didn't happen, so there's no change for me. The changes socially are that we're only able to travel 5 kilometres from our home. That's increased now to 25 kilometres. We had a limit of 2 hours of exercise outdoor. That has now been removed. And we can now gather up to 10 people from 2 households outdoors, but that's it, not 10 people from 10 households or 5 households and 2 people from each. It's only 2 households and 10 people maximum. All retail is still closed. Tourism, hospitality, cafes, all of that kind of stuff is still closed. Now, they have suggested that in 2 weeks' time, they may, if things continue to go well, we may go to the next stage, which is having me being able to have 10 people out in the park at one time, and retail reopening. Ironically, hairdressers can open now, which seems ridiculous that a hairdresser can open given the proximity that you need to be working with somebody to cut their hair and do all that kind of stuff. But at least that is one side of the business that has been able to open up again. And dog groomers, I believe, can open up again as well. So what does it mean when things just don't work out the way that you're expecting them to? Well, I've come up with a 4-step approach to this. And the first one is to say, well, what does it actually mean to you? Well, for me, I guess it's frustrating, but it doesn't change what I do tomorrow. Tomorrow just is exactly the same. What it does mean is that there is absolutely no announcement as to when I can possibly open the studio again. I predicted in July that we probably wouldn't be able to open the studio again this year, which just seems ridiculous. But by then, we'll be shut for 9 months. 9 months. Now tell me, what business can you shut down for 9 months without it having a detrimental impact? And this is why so many people in the industry will have just left by now, gone broke. So many businesses are just screaming to be left open or to be able to be open again, and not to mention the seemingly unspoken impact that it's having on everybody's mental health. It's simply crazy and dumbfounding, the impact that it's having. So what does it mean to me? It means that I just keep going as I'm going. I have no idea when we're going to open again, but what I do know is that I've got a bunch of people that love working with me and I can keep working with them. And we're heading into summer as well, and people want to feel good about their bodies and move more. So I'm sure over this next week I'm going to get a lot more inquiries about people wanting to get moving. But it's creating a huge problem for people's health, because you've got the physical health, you've got the increasing risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancers, because of the fact that people are putting on more and more weight. We already know that the number of cancer tests are down in Victoria by something like 125,000 tests that are down, that are normally done at this time. It's a terrible state. It really is. And I don't think that they really get that. But what does it mean to me? It means that tomorrow business is as usual, and I'll be helping just as many people as I did last week. Step 2, what does this mean to me? I think you've got to find a way to rant, get it out of your system and get over it as quick as you can. Because, I mean, we've been here before where we're expecting an announcement to give us some really great news, and it just doesn't come. It really just doesn't come. And I think about, you're going to keep people locked down even further, particularly in my industry. Is there going to be more support for businesses that are really, really battling? There's been no discussion about that at this stage. It seems ludicrous that they have branded the health and fitness industry as dirty, high risk, and incapable of providing a service in a COVID-safe manner. It defies belief, given the millions of sessions that have been conducted interstate, and there has not been one case transmitted within a gym environment. So it's dumbfounding. It really is. But I've had my little rant, and I got over it, and we just keep moving on, which is really about the third step, about just staying focused on what it is that you can control. Yet the reality is that even though most people may not have predicted it, I made a curl earlier in the year and said that I don't think we're going to be open again this year, because the philosophy of the state government where I live is that let's just keep shutting things down and keep it restricted and hope like hell that a vaccine becomes available by March next year. That's what they've got their money banking on. If we can just suppress it for that long, then once we get a vaccine, we'll be right. Now, the reality is that we will probably go through the whole of 2021 without a vaccine, and it's probably not going to be 2022 till we get one. So I can see that we get well into next year and we still are living under these type of restrictions. I can see Christmas being under these type of restrictions as well. It's just crazy. But what I can do is focus on the things that are important to me. I'm not going to be able to control any of that other stuff that other people make decisions on, but I can control where my mind's at. And I can control my COVID strategy and what it is that I'm working on. And if I look at this last week, my goodness, I was so busy just in coaching people, and client-facing time was just ridiculous. I barely had time to stop and scratch myself and do work on those things that I've been able to over the past 7 months. So if I can just stay focused on those things, there's still so much that can be done, so much more innovation, so much more creation of positive outcomes for people. And to me, that's exciting. That's why I do what I do. And I know certainly in my state, the longer this goes on, people are more and more in need and becoming more desperate of something to improve their physical and mental health. And that's what I'm here to help people with. So I think the key is, stay focused on those things. And then the last point is don't waste time procrastinating. Don't get lost in all the stuff that you can't control. Stay focused on what you can do. Don't procrastinate about, man, what if it was this, and how long is it going to be, and when are we going to get to this point? It's just not worth it. It's going to end you up in a place that is just painful, it's just annoying, it's just disappointing, and there's no good to be found there. So the best thing to do is to just focus on what it is that you can control, that positive energy. And sometimes things just don't work out for whatever reason. Obviously I'm talking about the COVID situation here for me, but there are just times when things just don't work out, and life has taught me this. Even though we may not understand it at the time, things happen for a reason. And even though in the moment of the emotion, the pain, the frustration, the loss, whatever it is, we don't understand it, upon reflection, you'll find that there's good to be found in this. There is growth to be found in this. There is learning, there is opportunity to be found when things don't go wrong. When things don't go right, when things don't work out. It's just that in the moment we often don't see it, but it's because of that pain and frustration that you're given an opportunity to learn, to grow, and become a better version of yourself, a stronger version of yourself. And you may not find it in that instant, but maybe you will. But certainly in the minutes, hours, days, months, weeks, years afterwards, you'll look back and say, that was a defining moment for me. That was a time when I was so frustrated and so annoyed, and things were so much out of my control that were determining my livelihood, that I had to do this. And in doing that, I created a way better version of myself. I remember when I was looking for my new house and studio, I had 4 real estate deals fall through, and each one for me was like, yeah, this is the one. This is the one. To some extent, I had the first case, I'd signed a contract. No, actually, no, I hadn't signed a contract. That one was subject to a building inspection, and a building inspection which took ages for us to get through the Section 32 documentation. It was a disaster, so I stepped away from that. My second one was buying a block of land, and I put a deposit on the land, and subject to satisfactory soil tests, did the soil test, and that was a disaster. There was a solid rock underneath it, and it was going to cost me an extra $100,000 just to get to the front door. I pulled out of that contract. They refused to repay my deposit. I threatened to sue them, and in the last minutes before the deadline ran out, they repaid the money. My next one signed the contract, and one of the vendors signed the contract. The partner of the vendor refused to sign and asked for another $20,000. And then they pulled out of the contract in the cooling off period. So that one moved away. I then found a block of land in the street that I'm living in now, and I went in to put an offer on that, and they told me that the block sold 10 minutes ago, and I was like so incredibly frustrated, and I thought, man, what is going on here? And I was working with a real estate agent, and he said to me, Rob, it's just not meant to be. And I said, that's easy for you to say because you don't have any emotional attachment put into this. But he was very right, because later that day of that disappointment of having the property sold 10 minutes ago, I had a phone call from another block in the same street with a guy that said, do you still want the block? And I said, well, yeah, I do. How much? And he offered to drop the price by, it was about $20,000. No, it wasn't that much. Actually, I think it was about how much was it? About $17,000, I think, compared to the other block in the same street. And because of that, I now have the nicest house, the biggest and most beautiful studio that I've ever had. And none of that would have been possible if any one of those other things had come to fruition. And even though I didn't know it at the time, I knew that those things have created that. And if I think about all the other painful things that have gone wrong in my life, if you like, or have seemed wrong at the time, have been gifts in the making. It's just that I didn't see them that way at the time. But on looking back, I can see that they were defining moments that really have helped create the person that I am, shape me as a human being, shape me as a coach, and help me become, the best father that I can be because of the pain that I've had to go through. So when things don't work out, there's a gift in there. You've just got to find what it is. That's the thing. I was bullied for years as a young kid because I was small, and that caused me a lot of pain for many, many years, and had a dramatic impact on my self-esteem. But upon reflection, it was probably the best gift that I could have to help others improve their self-esteem, to help me create the version of myself and with the body, the health, the mindset that I want, so that I can pass that on to my kids, and so that they can pass it on to their kids, but so I can have a more of a global impact on people to help them live happier, healthier, more satisfied lives. And all of that came from pain. So the gift is there for you. You just have to find it. So things didn't work out today, but there's a gift in there for me too. Have a great day wherever you are in the world. Stay safe. We'll be out of lockdown eventually. See you tomorrow.